Cubs postgame live, presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
He's trying to win the series. A pitch. A call, strike three on the slider.
Somebody not happy at home plate after Hector Rondon rings him up. Cubs win 3-1 to take the series 3 of 4. Hello, welcome to Cubs postgame live, presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Along with Todd Hollingsworth, I'm David Kaplan. Bullpen comes in, locks it down, but I said to you before we came on, Jake Arrieta has just been dirty.
Well, he's not only been dirty, I mean, he gives you a chance to win every time out, and that's what I was basically saying in the pregame show. Advantage Cubs, advantage Cubs. You had Arrieta on the mound. Rockies hadn't seen him before. As good as he's been, you really felt like if they could just do a little something on offense, and they did just enough today to get this one, you knew that you had a good chance of winning a game and winning a series.
All right, plenty of movement in the last hour before the trade deadline came. We start with the Cubs sending Emilio Bonifacio and James Russell to the Atlanta Braves for catching prospect Victor Caratini. He was the 65th overall pick in the 2013 first-year player draft. Second round by the Braves, and there's James Russell saying, "See y'all later. I'm out of here," getting into a pennant race. And the only team he's ever played for, the Chicago Cubs, say goodbye to a left-handed reliever and a really good guy, as was Bonifacio.
Oh, both had very good runs here. Obviously, Russell here a lot longer than Bonifacio, but both made good on their time here. Opportunity to win. I mean, it's real important for that, for the, players. I mean, Russell's seen so much here. He's got a chance to go be a factor in a pennant race, be that left-handed guy out of the bullpen. Bonifacio is going to get just a tremendous amount of opportunity when you consider what the Braves have kind of looked like at times on offense this year. I expect him to be starting in a variety of different roles, different spots on the field, different spots in the lineup, and it's just, again, a great opportunity for him when you think where he was at the beginning of this season to be traded for at this point. Sure, the Cubs capitalized on that, but Bonifacio has played great, and again, he's going to move up and get himself to a contender.
All right, Baseball America has Caratini ranked number 8 overall in the Braves system. I checked a couple of others that have him as high as 4 in one of them. He's an infielder and a catcher, played at Miami-Dade, also went to the Puerto Rican Baseball Academy. Carlos Correa went there, who was the #1 overall pick in that same draft that saw him picked by Atlanta. So a guy who's got some upside, but again, still has a ways to go.
Well, I mean, again, you've got depth at the position now, and you continue to improve. I mean, that's just it. Nice balance right there. I like the swing, like the approach. So, again, hard to predict what he's going to do with his career, how it's going to turn out for Victor. But, I mean, again, you've got a prospect. You plucked one away for a couple of guys that you probably felt like didn't have much of a future here in Chicago. Certainly weren't part of the plans as far as the long-term view is concerned. So they're going somewhere, and you got something in your system now to help, again, with the depth at the catching position. It's out there. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I've seen it. Interestingly enough, there was a deal today. Kurt Suzuki got locked up by the Twins today, and it kind of tells you what the state of catching is in the game, and it's coveted. And we've got a few guys in the system right now. We've got numbers.
Yeah, the Cubs now have Kyle Schwarber, their #1 overall pick this year, 4th in the draft. He's a catcher and can also play in the outfield. And then you have, of course, the trade they just made to pick up the kid from Atlanta. Biggest splash of the day, though, no doubt about it, comes from the Detroit Tigers. Their owner, Mike Ilitch, says, "Hey, man, I want to win. Period. End of story." They acquired David Price from the Tampa Bay Rays. Detroit sends Austin Jackson to Seattle in a 3-way deal. Here's Jackson getting pulled during the Tigers game against the White Sox. At this moment, not knowing yet where he's going. There's Dave Dombrowski waiting to talk to him.
Mid-game. Look at that. 2-2 count, 1 out in the 7th. Deal's done. Get him off the field. Yeah. You want to talk about a little awkward? That's got to be it right there. I'll give you a hug later, buddy, when we get into the clubhouse.
He's right now in his mind going, "Oh, my goodness."
Well, it's right. It happens. And again, sometimes it's better when you don't know. It's very interesting to me. Austin Jackson's name really hasn't popped up on anybody's radar. He's been one of the reasons the Tigers have been a first-place team for quite some time. I mean, he's played great center field for him, great defender, good with the bat, solid player. But again, sometimes these things just sneak up on radar. Kat, my point today, we kind of got into the Lester deal. It just seemed like it really did shake the tree, man. Everybody seemed to be reacting to Lester going out west, and then everybody getting involved, and the trades just started happening left and right.
All right, have you ever been in the dugout when a teammate got traded? And take us inside. I watch Moneyball like every other fan out there. And Jonah Hill comes in and says, "Carlos, you've been traded to wherever they traded him to." here's so-and-so's number, they'll take care of it, and that's it. Calculating.
Well, it is.
Is that how it happens?
Absolutely. It really is that fast. I mean, they're going to hope to get you in, into their uniform tomorrow. I mean, that's just it. I mean, they always speak to the urgency, usually when you get traded. Having been there, when can you get here? We've got you on the next flight out. I mean, I was hustling to the airport. I remember in Pittsburgh, I got traded, and I was jumping on a plane trying to get there before the game, literally that night. And matter of fact, I came to Chicago when I was with the Rockies under those circumstances and actually got a pinch hit in the game, got a hit.
For the Rockies.
For the Rockies, against the Cubs.
Who told you when the Cubs traded you to Atlanta? Who told you?
I think it was our traveling secretary at the time. But again, sometimes this information.
That's who you find out from.
Right. Well, I mean, you've got so many people and people and places. Our general manager, I don't believe, was with us at the time. But again, that information has to be passed around, and you've got to get guys going because, again, I mean, you look at what the Boston Red Sox did. I mean, they held Lester back so that extra start could be had by the A's. I mean, if you think about it that way, and a lot of that's going on. This is go time now in our sport, and the deadline happens. You want to get your guys in uniform and on the field as quickly as possible. So, yeah, there's a lot of movement. Guys are going to probably bump into each other at the airport.
All right, the Tigers now have the last three, count them, American League Cy Young Award winners in their rotation. Price, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, toss in Anibal Sanchez and Rick Porcello. Wow. There's what the Rays get. Drew Smiley, the lefty, Nick Franklin, a shortstop who's been struggling, and Willie Adams, an infielder who is considered to be one of the better prospects in the Detroit system. Mariners get Austin Jackson.
Love the trade for the Tigers. Can't deny that. A little disappointed with the Rays. They've been making a nice run and been battling their way back. I really believe that they had a chance of winning and doing something that we hadn't really seen in our sport in quite some time, coming back from 18 games down earlier this year. But this is what the Rays have to do sometimes. They have to make hard decisions for their future, and sometimes the future conversation always feels like it's in the now with teams like the Rays, and that's what's unfortunate.
All right, if you got David Price, you got Max Scherzer, Sanchez throwing the ball very well. Verlander's been scuffling some this year, velocity down a bit. What do you do in the playoffs now that you've acquired this big horse, and do you see a chance where Verlander in the playoffs pitches out of the pen at all?
If he's okay with it. I mean, we watched Tim Lincecum do it and have great success doing it. And I think it's a great idea. I mean, I've always been behind it. As a matter of fact, I said it on my radio show earlier this week. I mean, again, it's thinking outside the box, and obviously we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're still 2 months away from the playoffs. But those are moves that are made for championship caliber teams. When, to reference 03, we did an awful lot of that with the Marlins. We took our starters and put them in the bullpen and brought them back out. I mean, these are things that you consider. When everybody's in and everybody's pulling in the same direction, yeah, you can make moves like that, but Justin would have to be on board with this.
All right, also John Lester. The day gets going with the Red Sox and A's making a blockbuster deal. Lester to Oakland, along with Johnny Gomes. Yoenis Cespedes goes back to the Red Sox. Wow.
Well, I'd love the move, certainly, for the Oakland A's. They've been out in front of this. You got to remember, the Oakland A's have the best record in baseball, and boy, do they just continue to make moves. Can you reshape their rotation? Now you've got the four-man, you get this four-headed monster, 2 lefties, 2 righties. You got Sonny Gray, you've got Lester, Jeff Samardzija,
Kazmir,
Hamill. My goodness, he's having a great year. And well, Hamill's been struggling a little bit. I think he might be the guy that actually is probably most affected by this. He now becomes depth, or the 5th starter, if you will, for the time being, but he's probably not in that playoff conversation. He might help you out in the bullpen, but again, you'll see what ends up happening there. But they're trying to win the division now. That's what you have to remember. I think everybody was kind of connecting this, and I made this assessment a few weeks ago when the A's had gone into Detroit and they got swept. And right after that's when they made the Samardzija deal, and you were like, boy, that felt like it was a reaction to us going into Detroit and getting swept, by the Tigers there. And so they made that move. But they've stayed out in front of this deal. You've got the Angels to contend with. You've got the Mariners out there that are playing great baseball as well. And the Angels, interestingly enough, did nothing at the deadline. So you've got to feel like this should really help the A's. This isn't a move that was just made for winning the World Series. This is a move that was made for winning the division and getting there.
Right, you look at what they're going to get. That competitive balance pick comes right after the first round. So if they are not able to keep Yoenis Cespedes, he's a free agent after next season, they get a first-round pick for it. And the A's, you got to think John Lester's going to hit the market, but they do get money to pay his deal.
Well, and there's also that rumor that continues to float around, and John left Boston with this idea that John Lester is very interested in coming back to Boston. He loved his time there, and that's a very real story. Now, we said that the same thing with Jeff Samardzija, but what typically happens in these situations is the farther you get away from where you once were or the history that you built, you kind of tend to see, you know, it isn't so bad on the other side.
Maybe I'll try something else.
Well, I mean, it happens that way. And, you know, you just get in these situations where you believe. And I remember the first time I was traded, I was, you know, kind of nervous, kind of scared to just kind of be out there. I was used to competing against everybody else and always wearing a Dodger uniform. But once I realized that, you know what, they play ball the same way we play ball out there, life is just as good. You kind of find that, you know, there's other good places to play too.
All right, the Red Sox sent another starter packing. John Lackey dealt to St. Louis for Alan Craig, who's having a tough year. The pitcher, Joe Kelly. And the interesting fact that Holly told us about on the pregame show, John Lackey had a clause in the contract negotiated by Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer, said that if you went and had Tommy John at any point in the $89 million deal that he had with Boston, that the last year's guaranteed at only $500,000. That's all the Cardinals have to pay.
Well, that's basically why the Cardinals made this deal. You look at the return. Listen, Alan Craig's having a bad year. 683 OPS. He struggled, no power, not driving in the runs that we've watched him do it. I mean, he's had big moments for this team. He's had big offense in the World Series. Hit 375 last year for the Cardinals. So you know who Craig is. There's no doubt about it, but he's having a bad year. And maybe you think that that injury that he sustained, maybe that's factoring into what's going on. I don't know, but he's just having a down year. But he's got upside. He's controllable. Kelly, you got the replacement for Lackey in the rotation. He's got some future. Again, more controllable. But the Cardinals get back somebody who's got a track record, who's been good for the last 2 years, who was big during the World Series. And again, you put him with Masterson and Wainwright, you got to feel like the Cardinals are out in front now.
All right, we've got to take a timeout. Busy day. Deadline has come and gone. Cubs move Bonifacio and Russell to Atlanta for a Class A catcher. Take a timeout. We'll come right back. A post-game show presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Cubs beat the Rockies 3-1. Great outing from Jake Arrieta. More to come. Stick around.
Cubs Postgame Live is presented to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all.
Picking up pieces of my life, sometimes there's ones I just can't find, but they found a home with you. And when I think about the things that we've been through, I know just one thing is true. Life is better with you. Oh, oh, life is better with you.
It all comes down to this. Danny Walker at the plate, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs.
Come on, Danny, this is it.
Walker digs in.
Whew. Really wish I could finish this, but I'm so tired. Gotta get up in a few hours.
Stream your favorite movies with UVerse high-speed internet. With AT&T, the UVerse revolves around you.
Beth posts, my car is falling apart. One expensive piece at a time. Hashtag, time for a new car. Perfect timing, Beth, because the Honda Summer Clearance event is here. Check out the Honda Civic with awesome standard features like a rear-view camera and Bluetooth. If I had a dime for every time my customers' old cars broke apart and fell through a sinkhole, yeah.
Hurry in to get a great deal on a Honda, named Most Trusted Brand by KBB.com. The Honda Summer Clearance event is on now at your Honda dealer.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema. Based on the incredible true story.
Mommy, did you know I have a sister? I told you that. In heaven, this little girl told me she died in your tummy.
Your son had a near-death experience.
When a boy crosses over to the other side.
You saw heaven? It's beautiful.
I want to believe him, but everything he talks about is impossible.
He'll discover what we've never seen before. Heaven is for real. Movies start at Channel 125.
I'm Dr. Andy, the Kia man. At Evergreen Kia, we're always fighting high prices. Yeah! And other people's high payments. Kia! Whoa! Have no fear. Kia man is here, and I'll defend you from these guys, their high prices and their high payments, and all the other competition.
And you'll save hundreds on gas with our fuel-efficient Kias, like this new Kia Sportage, loaded with equipment and gets 28 miles per gallon. Only $18,895 or $174 a month.
Take good care of my Kia, and we'll take good care of you.
Cubs win 3-1. They beat the Rockies, take 3 of 4 in the series. Let's go to Wrigley. James Russell meeting the media.
Personally, you were staying or?
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually came in to the dugout to go to the restroom and go sit down next to Travis on the bench, and he goes, "Hey, time's up pretty much. I go, yeah, I might have just escaped. And next thing, PJ comes up to me and says, hey, boys upstairs need to talk to you. So kind of had a feeling then that I was probably going to be leaving. Yeah, well, I mean, I had to get my glove and my jacket out in the pen, but it was nice because got to say bye to some of the guys, and then made my rounds in the dugout. I mean, it's something a little memorable, I guess, but I mean, who knows when I'll see some of these boys again.
Like maybe even some fans were saying something to you out there, or you said something to some of them?
I guess they kind of figured it out once I started giving guys hugs and saying bye that I was leaving. It was kind of nice. They gave me a little round of applause by the bullpen.
You've been through 2 baseball regimes, several managers, different teams, a lot of terms. What do you look back on, and what do you think you'll look back on most fondly?
I mean, there's a lot of memories. I mean, just getting to play with D. Lee and Kerry Wood here and Demp and Lily, just having Lou as a manager. I mean, it's just some of the things that you'll never forget. And I mean, it's fun. And you're always going to remember the first place that you start out with. And I mean, nowadays you very seldom see guys just playing their whole career with one team. So I mean, you never know. He could always come back, and I mean, I'd love to come back to Chicago.
When you came up, the team was still competitive, and all those veterans were here, and it was a totally different vision, I imagine, compared to now, coming into this season or during this season. How do you compare those two visions, realities of this team?
It was different, just going through that little facelift kind of thing. I mean, it was fun. We thought early that we had really good chance of having some good teams, and obviously it didn't work out. And then next thing you know, we're doing a merry-go-round with managers and moving guys every which way, and it'll be fun to see things kind of slowly stop and then pieces get added and watch things kind of take their course here.
Do you think that's what's next?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you kind of all the stuff that you hear about the young guys down in the minor leagues. I mean, you hear it for a reason. I mean, you know they're going to be good. I mean, there's a reason that everybody gets that much coverage and stuff like that. So it'll be fun to see them come up here and start contributing.
Ready to finish the playoff race?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be exciting.
All right, there he is, James Russell, ex-Cub, headed to the Atlanta Braves and a pennant race. But time now for our UPS Store Taking Care of Business Player of the Game, Jake Arrieta. He was dirty again. Set down the first 14 batters he faced. In fact, the first hit was a ball that was caught by Junior Lake, and it popped out of his glove when he hit the ground. Otherwise, Arrieta takes a no-no through 5 again.
It wasn't a hard hit ball to the 7th. I'm just going to be flat out honest with you. Colorado Rockies didn't even make hard contact till the 7th inning. They had the back-to-back hits from Dickerson and Arenado. That was it. I mean, really, that was it. And I told you what I came up with. I think, don't let Jake sit in the dugout too long. That's just it. It's the only time he seems like he starts to maybe struggle a little bit is when he has to sit down a little bit. And if you remember, it was the Cubs just before that had their big inning. So again, that's about it. You think back to his runs at perfect games and no hitters. It's always somehow attached to a big Cubs offensive inning.
Yeah, he's been really, really good. And think back to the trade that's brought him here a year ago. Scott Feldman, Steve Clevenger. You get Jake Arrieta and Pedro Strop back. Nice. That one's worked out exceptionally well because Scott Feldman isn't even with the Orioles anymore.
Right. Well, you got a chance at an ace right here. And that's what Arrieta's got to prove. I mean, he's got to prove it to himself, and I think he has to prove it to baseball. But I think we look at his stuff and we say, wow. And I mean, he's got it. He's got top of the rotation type of stuff. You just wonder maybe about the history and the injury history, but he's going to have to prove it. That's all it is. It's just going to be timing. If he continues to march through the rest of the season, go about his business the way that he has, gets into next year, and still looks like the Jake Arrieta, I think we're all convinced that he's going to be an ace.
All right, let's hear from Jake. He is meeting the media after James Russell spoke at Wrigley.
When that happens?
Well, going in, I felt a little off. In the pen, I kind of realized it. Just really didn't feel like I had a lot of life on my fastball today, but I was able to come out with a good mix of off-speed pitches. for strikes, below the zone for swings, mixed in some changeups, and the cutter was pretty good today. So, you know, just changing your looks, not being in patterns of predictability is really what makes things easy for me out there sometimes, and was able to get on a pretty good roll.
Maybe it seems commonplace to you, but do you feel it third, fourth, fifth inning when you have retired everybody at that point? Do you know it's there?
Well, I know I haven't pitched from the stretch at any point in the game thus far. So, but it's and it's kind of one of those things where the more you go out there and continue to do it, it just seems like it's supposed to happen that way. And it's a good feeling when you get into that groove and you're able to execute, pitch after pitch, and it's just kind of what's been going on. Just a lot of consistency with good breaking balls, being able to move the ball around in and out and change eye level up and down. So, that was pretty common throughout the game today, and then just lost a little steam there in the seventh. Kind of came out a little flat. But base hit, double, was able to get out with just that one run and leave those guys stranded on base. So that was a pretty big inning for us.
It's your first
All right, time now for the Subway winning box score. And this one belongs to the Cubs. Alcantara, 1 hit today, 2 for Chris Coughlin. Anthony Rizzo, 1 for 2. Starlin in 0 for 3. Somebody wouldn't keep the former. Ruggiano and Valbuena did not find a way into the score sheet. Castillo and Lake each with a knock.
Big RBI walk. What are you talking about? The bases loaded. I win. All right, I'll give it to you. Listen, we built an inning. That's what you wanted to see happen. You think back to the sixth, a couple base hits lead it off, a couple of nice at-bats. Rizzo walks, Castro walks, all quality at-bats. That's what you had to do going up against Hernandez today. He was working around the zone. He was convinced. He had convinced himself. He had convinced me that he was not going to make a mistake. And that means, he was going to walk a few guys. He was pitching to the corners of the plate all day long, even when he was missing, and even when his back backed against the wall right there, still was trying to stay off the plate. So again, good at bat. You get the sacrifice fly from Ruggiano right there, stayed in it. Great base running by Rizzo, gets himself to third base because that's going to set up an RBI ground out, which is exactly how you build an inning. You put the ball in play 2 more times, you get 2 hits, 2 walks, and 3 runs in an inning. That's called building an inning. Excuse me.
All right, let's check out our Sports Authority play of the game. Charlie Blackmon goes back and takes extra bases away from Junior Lake. Pretty good play.
Oh, Charlie Blackmon, boy, he had a series. I'll tell you what, he opened up my eyes. You know how sometimes the team starts to struggle a little bit and you lose, you kind of lose, you disconnect from some of their all-stars and how things are going. Knew that he was off to a great start this year, and obviously not keeping up with the Rockies as much because they weren't playing great baseball, but everybody is raving about Charlie Blackmon in Colorado. This kid is absolutely their center fielder of the future. You saw him atop the lineup. You saw how he hits, uses the entire field. He's got some speed, stole some bases, and got a great jump on that baseball.
All right, Cubbies beat the Rocks 3-1 more on Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. In just a moment.
Jenna posts, you know there's a problem when a golf cart accelerates faster than the car you drive. Hashtag new car, please. Great news, Jenna. The Honda Summer Clearance event is the perfect time to upgrade to a sporty new Civic. It comes loaded with cool standard features like a rearview camera, Bluetooth, and Pandora compatibility.
Call your mother.
I'm working, Pop-Pop.
Hurry in to get a great deal on a Honda, named most trusted brand by KBB.com. The Honda Summer Clearance event is on now at your Honda dealer.
Does anyone know a trustworthy roofer? I need a ranked list of roofers with detailed reviews.
Carol, you know you can find that online, right? You can even buy homeowners insurance online from Esurance.
I am desperate for a roofer.
That's not how it works.
Now you can buy homeowners insurance online with Esurance. Their simple, intuitive tools help guide you to the right coverage for your home. You can even get money back every year you don't make a claim. Welcome to the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Visit esurance.com for a quote.
Refreshment calls, Coors Light answers.
Anybody else?
Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Power your job site with this generator from Generac. This model has a 208cc engine that generates up to 3,750 peak watts. Only $369. Let Menards keep you cool this summer with the best and largest selection of stock Hunter ceiling fans, all on sale. The 52-inch Fremont is available in a brushed nickel or premier bronze finish, just $79. Or the 52-inch Morelli features white case glass and a brushed nickel finish, including a remote, $134.
Save big money at Menards.
If you sign up for DirecTV's latest deal, prepare to be blindsided. Because they'll double your rate before you know it. And you'll find you're locked into a 2-year contract that could cost you over $3,000. That's why the smart choice is Xfinity. You can see all the best action in football all season long. With no surprises. Don't get blindsided by DirecTV. Call 1-800-XFINITY today.
All right, time for our 4 seasons heating, air conditioning, and plumbing. Who's hot, who's not of upcoming opponents. Who's hot? How about Yasiel Puig? 50 XBH, extra base hits. Wow. Clayton Kershaw, you don't get much better. 12-2 with an 0.81 whip and a 1.76 ERA. Justin Morneau smoking along at 3.13, 63 knocked in with 13 bombs. Who's icy cold? Ex-Cub Paul Maholm. A bloated ERA and a 1.5 record. Franklin Morales, 5-5, but with a high ERA. And Juan Nicasio, 5-5, with a 5.92. All right, time to look back at, let's first go out to Wrigley. Ricky Renteria, brought to you by Xfinity.
Jake again went out to
Yeah, he did a nice job. He got into a little trouble there in the 7th, but ground through that inning and did a nice job. I mean, I thought he was throwing a no-hitter or something, maybe through 3 or 4. And that was a great attempt by Junior on that fly ball too. So guys they played behind him.
So finally, the deal finally went down. You kind of knew Montas was probably going to Russell. Just your thoughts on kind of moving forward without those 2 guys?
Well, obviously those guys have been good pieces for us, and I just got to know James and both Bonnie, but I know James has been here for 4 or 5 years, and has been a really nice piece for the organization. He's been very professional. He's done a nice job. So we wish them both well, and I think they'll do fine. And they're going to go into a race, and I think they'll thrive in it. So we'll just continue to make the adjustments we need to, as we get together and talk about how we move forward.
All right, let's look back at Todd's keys from our pregame show, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
Yeah, the great unknown, really talking about Jake Arrieta. You see it right there, 7 innings, 1 earned run. Really wasn't until the 7th inning. I mean, he was unhittable, almost untouchable, if you will. So he was absolutely the great unknown to the Colorado Rockies today and took full advantage of the fact that they hadn't seen him before. Let's do it again. All right, listen, we built some innings. We didn't score as many runs as I would have liked, and I thought we had an opportunity to do more. But we got the 3. That's all we needed because Arrieta was so good. So, yeah, maybe we made some good adjustments on that. And the bullpen did it again. Cubs pen, 2 innings, 2 Ks. Got it done. I felt like we were in better shape with Arrieta. It let things play out, and we got the win.
All right. That's going to put a ribbon on this edition of the postgame show. Thank you for watching. Cubs Postgame Live brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Thank you to our great director, Terry Cortez. And we will see you on Saturday night.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois knows your 20s is your time. So go ahead and act your age. We're the smart choice for health insurance, and we're ready when you are. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all.
It all comes down to this. Danny Walker at the plate, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs.
Come on, Danny, this is it.
Walker digs in.
Whew. Really wish I could finish this, but I'm so tired. Got to get up in a few hours.
Stream your favorite movies with UVerse high-speed internet. With AT&T, the UVerse revolves around you.
Angie posts. Ugh.
This stupid AC in this stupid car, it only works on high. Hang tight, Angie, because the Honda Summer Clearance event is here. This Honda CR-V has awesome standard features, like a rear view camera and Bluetooth. Want to borrow my brush? Thanks. Keep it.
Hurry in to get a great deal on a Honda, named most trusted brand by KBB.com. The Honda Summer Clearance event is on now at your Honda dealer.
Every season has a turning point, a game changer, an unexpected hero, where young stars make their name and legends leave their mark. Now, DirecTV delivers the save of the year with MLB Extra Innings at a special half-season price. Every team, every player, every pitch that paints the playoff picture. Plus, for the first time ever, the action follows you with MLB.tv. That's almost 100 games a week on any device. Order today and get MLB.tv included with MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV.
I'm not much of a shopper, and I got a lot going on, so it's good to know farmandfleet.com is there.
I have got a million things to do. When I think of things that I need, I jot them down, and I go to farmandfleet.com, and I do all my shopping.
I can just finish what I'm doing, grab my phone, see all the products I want, just order them right there online.
I just place my order, and I pick it up at the store.
I just pick it up and go. They make it easy.
It's so easy and convenient.
Coming up on Inside Look, presented by Cadillac. A player whose face became a symbol of championship hockey, the Blackhawks' Andrew Shaw.
I'm the kind of guy that, once I get somewhere, it's not enough. I want more, and I just keep working and keep working.
In only a few years, Shaw has become a force to be reckoned with, but his first mission was earning respect.
They got a lot of skill here in Chicago, but I think what they needed was, I think they knew they needed a little grit.
And behind the Indian head sweater is a blue-collar mentality from back home.
I saw what it took to get by in this world, and I just always pushed myself and worked as hard as I could.
Inside Look, Andrew Shaw, next.
Hello and welcome to Inside Look, Andrew Shaw, presented by Cadillac. I am Pat Boyle. Andrew Shaw is just 23 years old. Compared to most his age, he's just getting started in life. But Shaw has already reached a level that many of his hockey peers and elders will spend a lifetime trying to achieve. And in trying to fit in with an established group of champions, the kid from a working-class family in Ontario was determined from day one to carve out his own place in the game. You're now part of a team that's like the gold standard now in the NHL. Do you feel good about your role? Are you like, I need to continue? What's your thought about where you stand with this team and where you want to go?
I just want to keep bettering myself. I want to play in Chicago, but I want more responsibility, every game. And I love being on the power play. I just got to keep working and, get better at it. And, just, like I said, just keep pushing myself. I'm the kind of guy that, once I get somewhere, it's not enough. I want more, and I just keep working and keep working.
People talk about finding the right line for Kane, Shaw, Saad, Kane. It was a nice combo.
It was. We had a lot of chemistry. You had a guy that can make plays and score goals, and you had a guy that can fly, skate and make those plays and score the goals. And I was just kind of the guy that would, go get the puck as quick as I could and get it to one of them and just go to the net. And whatever we had there in the playoffs, it seemed to work,
Does Belleville define Andrew Shaw, the player? I mean, when you describe the city and hardworking and gritty and whatnot, I feel like you're talking about your style of play.
Yeah, I think so. I think growing up in Belleville, it formed me to who I am. That hard-working guy. I always saw my parents worked extremely hard for, me and my brothers to play hockey. They just had, the average job. Punch in at, 7 in the morning, come home, make dinner, and take us to the rink. They worked hard, and I think it wore off on me. I saw what it took to, to get by in this world, and I just always pushed myself and worked as hard as I could.
It's a blue-collar town. What was it like growing up there?
I think I had it good. At least summers, we had a family cottage, and like once school was out, we'd move out the next day, and I'd stay out there every day as a kid till school started up again, and we'd have our buddies come out and stay for weeks. So me and my brothers were always close. My sister would try to take care of us. I know, I'm sure it was a handful, but you know, summers were awesome there, and then winters just Pac-12 hockey. If I wasn't going to my games, I'd be going to my brothers, or you know, I'd be going practicing with their team, just be on the ice as much as I can. So I think it was a good town to grow up. You know, it was a small town, but you know, big enough that you know there was some stuff to do when you had some downtime.
And your dad was a contractor.
Yeah, he frames houses. He does everything from fixing up to building and roofing. He does it all. He's a pretty handy man.
And what was it like working for him, I assume, in the summers?
I mean, I'm sure he loved it. You know, I did all the brutal jobs, the jobs that, you pay a guy $5 to do an hour. You know, back when I was a kid, it'd be carrying lumber or holding stuff for him to nail it. And, but I think it was good. You know, it made me who I am today. And, he's worked for everything he's got. You know, he's a hard-working man. And, I don't think he's ever going to retire.
Were you a Leafs fan as a kid?
No. I hated the Leafs, hated Montreal. I was more of a Buffalo fan. When Daniel Briere and Chris Drury were there, I was kind of a big fan.
So you always looked at a guy that was a physical player, who was a gritty player, but who had some offensive punch once in a while.
Yeah, like all-time favorite player, Wendell Clark.
Really?
No, yeah, he's just nails. So, I was young, but like just watching videos on him and everything, and just seeing like the type of guy he was, it was pretty cool.
Was there a moment when you were a kid that you realized it, or someone told you that this could be your livelihood?
My dad always did, but I always had people tell me I was too small, or I didn't have enough skill. And I always liked pissing people off, so I liked to prove everyone wrong. And my dad was great. He pushed me, and he knew I could make it if I set my mind to it. And it was good. I owe a lot to my family, and me and my brothers were just competitive. Anything we did. If it was street hockey in the street, or just playing video games or something. We always did what we could do to win, and it rubbed off. And like I said, my family is pretty much why I'm here, and I could never thank them enough.
So take me back to your junior career. 2008, Niagara Ice Dogs. 2010, the Owen Sound Attack. What were those years like for you? Did you have a lot of success? Were there some struggles?
My first year, I felt a young guy coming in. I had to prove myself. I think I got in like 15 fights or something. 10 goals, 10 assists on a fourth line. Which was it was pretty good. So I was happy with my first year, and then struggled a bit my second year. We had a young team. We weren't that good. We barely made playoffs, and I was playing like third line on a not so good team, and I kind of struggled a bit, but I just kept pushing myself, kept fighting, and, just tried to get more ice. Every game I played, and I think the best thing for me is when I got traded to Owen Sound. I was in Niagara for my third year, and I think it was 2 days before season opener, I got traded to Owen Sound and packed up everything I had and went to a city where I didn't know a single person, and drove up there, and I was nervous about going up there. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, but then I got there, and great group of guys, great coaching staff, great organization, and what I heard was they were supposed to be the worst team in the league, and we just had a bunch of blue-collar guys, guys that wanted to work and compete for one another, and we ended up winning the OHL, and we stunned everybody, and it was a year I'll never forget. Mark Reeds and Terry Virtue, great coaches. I learned a lot from them, and just the guys I played with. We worked well together, and we had a winning team, and it was nice. Something I'm never going to forget there for sure.
Was that the year you were named hardest working player of the year, or was it?
It was that year, yeah. I got that award, and it was nice to be noticed for how hard I pushed myself. So I think that got my confidence level even a little bit higher. And then, going into playoffs, I had a really good playoffs, and then we won the OHL and went into the Memorial Cup, and I ended up leading the Memorial Cup in points. It was something I'll never forget there as well. I think that was a big goal of mine, and though we got beat out pretty early, but I was happy with what we did as a team.
Still to come on Inside Look, Andrew Shaw, a key ingredient.
We got a lot of skill here in Chicago, but I think what they needed was, I think they knew they needed a little grit.
And playing with fire.
And I think everyone was excited just to get that overtime started because we knew we were going to finish it.
The Cadillac Summer Collection is here.
What did you say that to me? Dreaming of cruising, maybe talking crazy, but I wanted it.
During the Cadillac Summer's Best event, lease this 2014 SRX for around $329 a month, or purchase with 0% APR and make this the summer of style.
Tonight, don't miss Sports Talk Live on Comcast Sportsnet. David Kaplan leads a roundtable on the day's hottest topics.
We're discussing things, we're getting out there, we're trying to get on the same page. We're five guys, but we're trying to work as one.
Interview Chicago's biggest stars.
He's the most prepared coach I've played for. We prepare for every regular season game like it's a playoff game.
And interacts with you, the viewer. Sports Talk Live, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado. Tonight at 5:30 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Big messes seem smaller with Littman. Make your house shine with a wide range of cleaners. Choose from 4 different types. Right now, get 2 for $5. This large angle broom is perfect for sweeping up everyday dust and debris. Just $6.99. Keep your dog safe with pet training products from PetSafe. Wireless fences cover up to 180-foot diameter boundaries. This wireless pet containment system has no wires to bury. Right now, just $249.
Save big money at Menards.
Inside Look, Andrew Shaw now continues.
So you've been in the OHL for 2 years and you weren't drafted. Did you ever think that, this is as far as I'm going to get and that my playing career may end here?
Oh yeah, I thought I told everyone, I'll probably be working for my old man. Everyone thought, you play in the OHL, you get like a school package. I was like, probably won't use it. Probably just go start an apprenticeship with my old man or something, work in the trades. And next thing you know, I was getting calls from NHL teams after that year and said, hey, I might have a shot. And I just kept pushing myself and was lucky enough that, Chicago gave me that opportunity.
So they take you in the 5th round in 2011. So 2011 was the year. It was the year Owen Sound wins, that you're on the map as the hardest working player. Scouts notice and you get drafted. What did members of the organization say to you? What were their expectations for you?
I just think they saw what I had. They saw my work ethic, and I was willing to do whatever it took to win. And I always think I surprise people, with my scoring ability or a little bit of offense I have in me. And I'm that kind of guy that's going to go to the net. There's not a lot of guys that do that sort of thing. The guy that's willing to take a beating to get there. So I think they saw that, and they like that. We got a lot of skill here in Chicago, but I think what they needed was, I think they knew they needed a little grit. And when I got that opportunity to play my first game, I made sure of it that I was going to do whatever I could to stay up.
So in 2011, you go to training camp. The Hawks had just won the Cup, but they had their team completely overhauled. And you get into it right away, right? You drop the gloves with Daniel Carcillo?
Yeah, I remember I finished a check on Stallberg, and I hit him pretty good, and then Carcillo came at me and slashed me, so I gave him a whack back and asked him to go, and we tussled, and I think I stood out there as well.
What was that like going back to the room after that? I mean, here you're the young kid trying to turn some heads. They had won a Cup. Carcillo's an established, gritty enforcer type. were they like, who's this kid? What's he think he's doing? Or was there respect for what you had done? How were you received in the room after that?
A couple smiles. You know, sometimes they just say, what's going on through your head to do that? You know, like jokingly knowing like they knew I'd drop the gloves with anyone, so I think they had some fun with it. But you know, I was pretty quiet back then. A lot different now, that's for sure. I was shy, you know, like my life I thought was going one way and it ended up going a different way. So you know, I was that quiet kid for the first little bit until then I felt more like I was at home.
No better team to face in your first NHL game, from your perspective, than the Philadelphia Flyers. It's your second shift, you get into a scrap.
Zach Ronaldo. Played him in juniors growing up too, so I knew he was a tough customer.
Had you had history with him?
I got in a fight with him back in junior as well, so I knew he was a tough guy. And I think Hazy just scored, and we lined up, and he looked at me and asked me if I wanted to go, and I was like, it's my first NHL game, why not, you know? And I remember Q said something to somebody like, oh, I should have told that kid not to fight, you know, because he knew I wanted to, you know. I went out there and fought, and, you know, I don't think he was upset about it, you know. I think he was, you know, happy for me, you know, to get it out of the way and, you know, to make a stance in my first game.
And then your first shot, you score a goal.
Yeah, actually, I had an opportunity in the first, I think it was maybe my first shift. I had an opportunity to shoot the puck, but I was so nervous, I missed the puck. I'm kind of glad I did, because it probably wouldn't have went in. And then I got my first shot. I actually, you know, Taves made a nice play to me and just put it backhand 5-hole, and you know, that's one moment I'll probably never forget.
And one thing you'll always have in common with Jonathan Taves.
Yeah, scoring on your first shot. Pretty cool. I'm pretty lucky, but it's pretty cool.
So the silver lining out of the 2010 revamping of that Stanley Cup winning team where 10 guys left was, I mean, because if there's no salary cap, there aren't 10 openings. There aren't 6, 5, however many forward openings there were. I mean, that was your big break. The revamping of the 2010 Stanley Cup team was Andrew Shaw's opening to make a mark on this franchise.
I came in at the perfect time. I don't know if it was all the hard work, you know, paying off in the end, but you know, I wouldn't change a thing.
You guys got off to that record 24 games without a regulation loss. You go 48 games, you win the President's Trophy, but now it's time to start the playoffs. Were you nervous?
Well, I've only had a few games in my career where I was actually nervous. My first NHL game, and then I think Game 7 against Detroit that year, and then every game in the finals. You know, but I always feel like when I'm nervous, I play pretty good, so I just kept pushing myself. And you know, I knew we had a great team. I knew we had the team that could do it, and we had a great group of guys that were, you know, willing to go to battle for one another. And you know, we did it. Even when we got down in that Detroit series, you know, we still knew it was possible to come back, and we competed. You know, we pushed, we stuck together as a team, and I know some fans were upset with us, but you know, we knew what we needed to do, and we went out and did it. And from that point on, there was nothing that was going to stop us.
Yeah, take me into the room. Game 7, Detroit. We thought Hjalmarsson had won it with about a minute and change to go in regulation. Crazy call. You guys come back into the room. You hadn't been in a Game 7 before in this environment.
Yeah, it was...
let alone overtime.
I think the guys were pretty excited, though. We knew we were going to win that game. You know, a lot of guys stepped up and said some things in the intermission there, and you know, everyone's blood was going, and I think everyone was excited just to get that overtime started because, you know, we knew we were going to finish it. And you know, went out there and CG made a great play, and from that point on, there was no one that was going to stop us.
What stands out? Do you remember who stood up? Is there any couple lines that you remember most from that intermission before the overtime?
Like a couple guys standing up, Taves, Kane, Dunk, Steves, those guys stepping up saying, like, remember how it felt when they lost Game 7 in Vancouver? Like, you don't want to ever feel that again, and you just got to work harder and keep pushing each other and stay positive. And the opportunity for us to go on was there, and we knew that was the year we were going to win the Cup. So I think going into that overtime, we felt pretty confident.
So you get to the Stanley Cup final, you'll be taking on the Boston Bruins and Brad Marchand, who you were compared to quite a bit. Did you like that comparison? Did it fuel you at all?
Like, I mean, he's a good player, but I always felt like, I know we're both more kind of a rat player, get under the skin, but I like to drop the gloves now and then, and I don't think he does as much as I do, but I knew I was going to get the best of him and just stay on him and keep pushing. We had a little tussle there in Game 3. Pretty awesome picture of it, actually. One of my favorites of my career. But we had a team that was going to go to bat for one another, and it was a lot of overtime games, but we always found a way to win.
Well, how about Game 1? You said you were nervous before every final game. First intermission, second intermission, third. Now we're talking first overtime, second overtime. Where was Andrew Shaw's head at as you were about to go out there for the third OT?
I wasn't nervous at that point. I was exhausted. But it's cool to be a part of a game like that. One that goes on, and it was like, I don't know, midnight or whatever when the game ended, and it was unbelievable. We knew it wasn't going to be a pretty goal, but we just kept going to the net, and I guess we got lucky.
Take me through that play, because I'm sure you've watched it over and over and over.
I went for the puck in the corner. I ended up getting hit pretty good, and Bix came and threw it to Roosevelt, and me and the defenseman were tied up in the corner, but I beat him to the net, and Rosie just took a little wrist shot, and Bolin tipped it. It was going wide as I'm skating to the net, kind of just hit my shin pad and went in, and that moment on, I felt like I had a lot of energy for at least 5 minutes. It was an exciting moment in my career, and I think it was a huge win, and we were just glad to get it over with.
And you were mic'd up for it.
Yeah, said some silly things. It was pretty good. It just shows when the excitement takes over, you don't know what you're going to say.
The phrase "I love shin pads" will live on.
I've seen a few T-shirts out there too, so yeah, I think it's pretty funny.
Sometimes you don't know how it went in. I mean, you knew right away. You knew that, like.
Oh yeah, I felt it right away. I knew it hit me, and I kind of just threw my arms in the air just because it was an exciting moment, and just celebrating with the guys after an OT win it's awesome, no matter what game it is.
Up next, a face that only hockey can love.
The pressure got to it. My face kind of blew up and couldn't even recognize myself.
Inside Look, Andrew Shaw will be right back.
The Cadillac Summer Collection is here.
What did you say no to me? Dreaming of cruises, baby, talking crazy, but I want it.
During the Cadillac Summer's Best event, lease this 2014 SRX for around $329 a month, or purchase with 0% APR and make this the summer of style.
So we're all set?
Yep, with Xfinity Internet, your family can use all their devices at once. Works anywhere in the house, even the garage.
Max, what's going on?
We're doing a tech startup. We're streamlining an algorithm.
What's Grandpa doing?
Hi.
Shh, Grandpa, you don't want to be an intern forever. Sorry, Dad. We have to get back to work. We have a deadline. We're going public!
The fastest in-home Wi-Fi for your entire family. The X1 Entertainment Operating System. Only from Xfinity.
We now return to Inside Look, Andrew Shaw, presented by Cadillac.
I love the shot of Taves coming up to you in the plane ride home from Boston, and he's taking a picture of it. He's like, "That's the face of a Stanley Cup champion, showing the war wounds."
Yeah, the pressure got to it. My face kind of blew up and couldn't even recognize myself. I looked like a little fat kid running around, but price you got to pay, I guess, and I wouldn't change it. I think that picture holding the cup is the coolest thing ever, so kind of glad it happened.
And the stitches that you received from the Game 6 cut, you ended up auctioning off, and it's a cause that's close to your heart.
Yeah, Mom was diagnosed 2 years ago with breast cancer. Obviously, there's a lot of women out there that are diagnosed with it, but it really touches home when it's your actual mom as well. And it's tough, but she's a strong woman, so she's fought through it, and she's doing good. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to give back to the community and donate and try to raise money for breast cancer research.
The wristband, is that the iron worker?
Yeah. So a couple of my buddies are iron workers, and a lot of the guys in their hall were huge hockey fans, and he gave it to me one day, and it was my last year in the OHL, actually, when I played in Owen Sound, and I just had my best year, and I always thought it as a good luck charm sort of thing. So I've had it on for, 4 or 5 years now, and haven't never taken it off. So,
last question. Take me to the Blackhawks convention when you're an alumni and let's say you're 50 years of age. How will they introduce you?
Starting forward. Yeah. No, I don't know. The Rat probably, or the Mutt. The Mutt's the one I get called around a lot, I guess. So I don't know. I'm hoping to play my career here. I'd love to stay in the city as long as possible. They're great to me here, so I feel like I owe them a lot, and I look forward, being 50 years old, coming back to a convention. I think it'd be a good time.
We want to thank Andrew Shaw for his time and to the entire Blackhawks organization. And also thank you for watching. I am Pat Boyle. For more of my interview with Shaw and the next broadcast of Inside Look, make sure you check out csnchicago.com.
The Bears are back. Countdown to football season with Bears training camp reports on Comcast Sportsnet. Kipper Moon take you live to Bourbon A every night. Bears training camp reports nightly on Sportsnet Central and csnchicago.com.
The atmosphere, the food, the camaraderie about being with your friends, amazing. Just having fun. Everything about being at US Cellular Field is great.
The DirecTV customers you're about to meet have allowed us to switch their service to Dish Network.
The Hopper says that it can do all these great things and record up to 6 shows at once, but it's doing these things that I don't want it to do or I don't need it to do. There's certain times of day, prime time I guess, is when half the DVR is reserved for recording all the primetime shows, even though we don't watch any of the network primetime shows generally. You would think it should just be allowed to watch what we want to watch, but instead Dish Network tells us what we want to record.
I'm not much of a shopper, and I got a lot going on, so it's good to know farmandfleet.com is there.
I have got a million things to do. When I think of things that I need, I jot them down, and I go to farmandfleet.com, and I do all my shopping.
I can just finish what I'm doing, grab my phone, see all the products I want, just order them right there online.
I just place my order, and I pick it up at the store.
I just pick it up and go. They make it easy.
It's so easy and convenient.
National awards don't come easy.
So when you win Golf Magazine's Renovation of the Year, Golf Digest's Best New Course Renovations, and Golf Range Magazine's Top 50 Ranges, you know that you've done something right. Mistwood Golf Club, Scottish-style sod wall bunkers, and the excitement of risk and reward. It is a truly unique golf experience. Mistwood Golf Club, Romeoville, Illinois. Significantly renovated, completely perfected. View the flyover video at mistwoodgc.com.
Baseball trade deadline has come and gone. White Sox stand pat. Cubs flip Emilio Bonifacio and send their longest tenured player as well to Atlanta. Meanwhile, two of the best rotations in baseball just got a whole lot better. We'll recap a wild deadline day in the majors. Lance Briggs has promised to be on his worst behavior this season, but will the defense be better? The veteran isn't sure. Plus, will he retire as a Bear? You'll hear from number 55. Derrick Rose continues to work out with the national team, but he says his Bulls team is the best he's ever been on. That doesn't include Kevin Love, and it sounds like it won't. Plus, breaking news on D. Rose, that and more on Sports Talk Live starts right now. Welcome into Sports Talk Live, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado. Hope you had a good day. I'm David Kaplan. Let's meet the panel for today's show. From Harry Carey's our buddy Frankie O, and co-lead columnist for the Chicago Sun-Times, we've got Rick Morrissey and Rick Tellender. Cubs make a trade today. They have sent Emilio Bonifacio and James Russell to the Atlanta Braves. They get back Victor Caratini. He's a catcher infielder. He was the second-round pick of the Braves in the 2013 first-year player draft. And this will give them some depth in their system and perhaps give them the catcher of the future. Let's go out now to Wrigley. General manager of the Cubs, Jed Hoyer, joins us. Jed, tell us about the young man that you were able to acquire, and you give up two guys, one who's your longest tenured player.
Yeah, I think that the longest tenured player part is difficult. As we've tried to have this youth movement and as we're building the future, one of the casualties of that is some of our longer tenured players, guys with the most service time have been traded. Russell did a great job for us. He's a great competitor, a great guy, a great teammate. These days are always really difficult. Bonifacio, we like a lot. We've only known him for 4 months. A guy like Russell, we've gotten to know for 2.5 years, and we like him, and so that's a hard part. As far as Caratini goes, we liked him a lot in the draft. Switch hitting catcher who's performed well so far in A-ball. And, pitching and catching are two of the areas we have to improve on. And so to get a guy that addresses a need for us was really important.
When you look at what you went through today, your big deal was in early July when you sent Hamill and Samardzija to Oakland and you get Addison Russell. When you see the return on David Price today, nobody at the level of Addison Russell, do you guys think, boy, I'm glad we moved when we did? And do you realize that you might have made an amazing trade back then?
Yeah, I don't think you compare deals. It's hard. Obviously in that deal there's some big league players that can help right away. I feel like that's your job, to compare deals. But, one of the things we talked about with Samardzija and Hamill is that we knew the market could get kind of muddy at the end. Guys like Lester getting dealt, guys like David Price, tons of other players on the market that weren't dealt. And, one of the things we talked about a lot was getting out ahead of that. Unfortunately, we were one of the few sellers in early July, and so we kind of had the market to ourselves. Had we waited until late July, we might not have gotten that return. So, that was strategic, and, from our standpoint, we feel great about the return, and we're glad we did that.
What can you tell us about the Felix Doubront deal that you made yesterday? He obviously had some issues going on in Boston, asked to be traded or released, and you bring him in. He does have good stuff. What do you expect from him?
I think we've made a bunch of deals like that. The American League East is difficult. Fenway Park is difficult. The American League in general is a hard place to pitch. And so we've had some success. A guy like Jake Arrieta today coming over here, bringing in guys over. Felix has had some success in Boston in the past. He's been a big part of the rotation for a couple years, and he's fallen on tough times. And I think if you always try to buy guys at the high point of their value, you're not going to make very, very many good deals. So sometimes when you buy low, you buy a guy that's fallen out of favor in an organization. We have a chance to bring him in here and see if we can correct something. So, and that's really the mindset with that. we're hopeful we can find something with Felix that we can help him with, and hopefully he can get back to where he was a couple years ago.
We had Ryan Debster on earlier today, and he said, I can't give a stronger recommendation than I would on John Lester. He said a professional, hard worker, and a hell of a pitcher. I know he's on another team, but you guys brought him to Boston. What can you tell us about him?
Well, the A's got a great competitor. You look at what he's done in that division. Look at what he's done in the playoffs. It's amazing. You know, he's been a great playoff pitcher. And, you know, there's a lot of pressure-packed games in a ballpark that's not ideal for a left-handed pitcher. And he's always answered the bell. He's obviously overcome a lot in his life, and I think that toughness really shows up on the mound. So I'm excited for the A's. They get to pair John with another guy we know well, and Jeff Samardzija and Jason Hamill. And, you know, for the game of baseball, I thought what happened today was fantastic. You know, big price deal, the big Lester deal, two heavyweight teams really going for it. And, you know, October should be a lot of fun.
I talked to a scout today who said that the lack of offensive players moving shows you a team like the Cardinals needed offense, so they go get more pitching. If you have bats, it's a great currency. Is that what you guys are operating under, that premise in your offices?
Yeah, you know, that's exactly what we talked about today. You know, if you're a team that needed offense, you know, you were kind of shut out of the market today. There wasn't good bats that got traded. And, you know, we looked at that and said, we've looked at that a lot and said, you know, pitching wins, and we know pitching wins. But right now, building up this stable of young players, if we can have the stability of having a young group that plays here for a long time, you know, we do have a lot of confidence that, you know, with some years to find pitching, we can do it. You know, right now it's a pitching game, it's a defense game. Everything in the game favors the defense. You got shifting, you know, got more analytics. You know, pitchers are throwing harder, more specialists in the bullpen. It's really hard to be a good offensive player right now, and so having some good offensive players, we hope, will translate into a really stable core, and we'll have to go out and find a lot of pitching.
Hey, as we let you go, I watched a Theo interview with Jim Bowden, and he said, I expect us to be busy this winter. He said, I can't tell you we will because I don't know what the market's going to be, but he expects that a lot of the young players will be playing for the Cubs in 2015. Do you expect a busy offseason to try and augment all the kids that could be here in your lineup by, you know, mid-May?
Yeah, I do. You know, it's certainly our hope, and you guys will use this against me in the future, obviously, if it doesn't happen, but it's certainly our hope that this is the last time that we're in this sales mode. You know, we want to be aggressive this winter. We want to find players that complement our young guys very well. We need some mentors for those guys. And, you know, I'm excited. We got a really healthy organization. We got a ton of young talent. And that talent's getting pretty close to being here. So, you know, as that talent comes up here, you know, now it's our job to figure out how to add pieces around them. And this winter, that'll really start, you know, in earnest.
Hey, last one. Javi Baez continues to play much better at AAA. With Bonifacio gone, do you change your timeline at all on Baez, or no, he's just going to keep doing what he's doing?
No, he'll keep doing what he's doing. It's been a great year for him from a learning standpoint. He's gotten better every month. Really playing well right now. Good reports on second base defense. So, you know, this move with Bonifacio doesn't mean that Javi's coming up, but it also doesn't mean we're not really excited about how he's playing the last couple months.
Appreciate the time. We'll talk to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, there he is, Jed Hoyer, Executive VP, General Manager of the Chicago Cubs. Just for everybody's edification, we did ask Rick Hahn. He was unavailable today. Check out the stat of the day, driven by the Chevy Silverado. Bonifacio, just a list of players the Cubs signed to 1- or 2-year deals and then traded for prospects. Paul Maholm, the first back in 2012. There's some other interesting names on that list. Scott Feldman brought back Arrieta. And you see Jason Hamill, who they flipped in the deal with Jeff Samardzija. All right, Rick Tellender, you've been critical of the rebuild. When you hear that they hope that this is the last time that they have to do this and that they want to be active this winter, does that give you pause for, yeah, I'm excited, or I'll believe it when I see it?
I'll believe it when I see it. People, I'm listening to people, and they're excited because the Cubs have the best minor league team in baseball.
History. Baseball history.
Yeah, baseball. You know,
well, no one's ever had three in the top 10 is what you're referring to.
The Smith brothers here. I've got to grow a beard so we'll think and look like the same person.
You'd look younger.
But the Cubs, you know, I just, this is all great and everything, and people, stats geeks love this, and they've got all these people. They got Baez, they got Chris Bryant, they've got all this. They're loading things up. Maybe they'll be good, but it is 2.5 years, and I don't care about the minor leagues. I don't want to go to Des Moines. I went to Des Moines, but I don't want to go there to watch who's great and who isn't. And when Samardzija and Hamill left, it was like, okay, another year down the road. Now, they're good pitchers. You know what else? The A's are going for it. The A's, that team that does Moneyball, that did Moneyball, that's small market, low budget team, and they're going for the World Series this year. You can tell how they've been stocking up in that recent deal they just did with the Red Sox. So the Cubs, it's all the future. Next year, wait till next year. And they are going to start building on Wrigley Field, they said, as soon as the season ends. Maybe, well, the season is basically over. But maybe we will see a real major league team next year.
Cap, you're right, possibly. You and Jed are winning. I just want you to know that. I think maybe you've won. I was out to dinner last night with a guy having a few drinks or having a few drinks, and he said, here's how it's going to play out. He said, next year, these guys are going to come up and they're going to develop. The next year, it's going to be like 1984 Bears. Maybe they get to the NFC Championship game. The year after that.
That's where are we at? 2017 now?
Well, the point is, does that sound fast? Does that sound incredibly fast?
That in 2017 they could be in the World Series? I don't know who they're going to sign, but the thing that they have going for them is you got a team-friendly deal at first. You'll have a minimum in second if these guys pan out. Baez.
To stop right there.
You just go around. There's no money on the field. You could put it all into pitching.
Right, but this is all like fantasy make-believe stuff. There's nothing real here. There's no stake there, whatever. And it's just the point, like Jed said. He goes, "Why have years to go out and get pitching?" He just said that. I have a couple years to go out and get pitching because that's the point. And you can have top prospects like the all-time prospect if you don't bring them up. Other teams are bringing them up. That's why those guys are moving up the list, because the other ones at the top of the list, they're playing in the major leagues right now. So if a guy's supposed to be playing in the major leagues, as a fan, I want to see him playing in the major leagues. It's part of our culture to make sure we have control for 6 years, 7 years. We want to do this. We're looking at the long term, and we want to be competitive in 2019 when we think we have the money to buy the players.
Those guys should be here next season.
Yeah, you know what? Wait till next year.
I can't wait because I just want to see these. I want to see. I'm so tired of and Frank, you're right. This is like fantasy football. I mean, it really is.
Well, Alcantara came up and he played pretty well, right? Okay, and you got Baez, you got Bryant, who are the two next ones. Nobody wants to start the major league clock on them, so they're waiting till next year. But this is kind of fool's gold here. I mean, it really is. It's like to be so bad, they're going to lose 90 games again this year. Probably at least. To be so bad, they've got more people talking about the Cubs than people talk about the White Sox. And the White Sox are a much better team, in my opinion.
No question.
So, but nobody cares about that because they're kind of right there. But it's fun for a lot of people to talk about the Cubs because they're so bad, because they love to think about what is going to happen. And I'm with Frankie on this. Put it out there for us to see it. I don't want to go to AAA, AA, single A. They got this catcher now from the Braves. What about the catcher they just drafted from Indiana?
Schwarber.
Yeah. You know, he looks like he might be pretty good, but down the road, 2-3 years.
I mean, it's such a.
That's what the baseball system is.
It's a
you don't draft Patrick Kane and see him in your lineup that year.
But the other point being that they're asking a professional price for people to go into the stadium. They're asking us to invest. They're asking. They're asking that. Well, I'm not paying it. You know what I mean? And if you look at the games, there's a lot of people not paying it. And if you work in the bar, there's not a lot of people asking to put the game on. I understand that. For me, it's good for business when the Cubs are really good. I want them to be good now. So for me, it's like, hey, can we get this started so we can feel that energy again? I've been here in the city when the Cubs have been good, and there's a ton of energy. There's a ton of energy when I work. And right now, there isn't that.
Frankie, I'd be there with you, elbow in the bar, watching the Cubs.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say in 3 years it's clear that this isn't working, that not enough of these guys have turned into players. You are a big Cubs guy. How is that going to make you feel? I mean, are you going to be angry?
Okay, if you tell me they get to 17 and they're still losing 90 games, well, there's going to be a regime change.
Okay.
They will have failed at their task.
That'll be 110 years.
If they lose 90 games in 2017, Theo and Jed will not be here.
Okay. That gets us back to the argument we've had for months now of why is it mutually exclusive? Why if you build put all your energy into building a minor league operation, why can't you have a decent product on the field at the major league level?
Well, go back to, we had Theo sitting on this set, and he said, I would rather win 60 than win 70. Jeez. I don't want to win 78 games and pick 16th. I'd rather pick high in the draft. He said, if you tell me we can win 90, it's a different story.
I guess what I'm saying is
would you like to have signed Prince Fielder?
I like the idea.
Albert Pujols, you want to have those deals?
I like the idea that this is supposed to be a billionaire owner. Why is the payroll so low? I mean, why can't they? Is this Kansas City?
That's the major point.
Well, what we were told was they can only spend 110% of what ticket revenue is by the covenant that they sign with the bank when they finance the purchase of Samsung.
Cap, these are all rules they made themselves. We're listening to all this nonsense. Like, we have to do this, and we're doing it. You know, this is a major league team. This is one of the most pronounced, amazing names and logos in all of professional sport. And we've had to watch 4 years of total crap.
5.
Okay, 5 years of total crap. And nobody would, the Yankees would, I mean, if they do that, they'll fire and kill everybody. The Red Sox would not let it happen. The Dodgers wouldn't let it happen. I agree with Frankie, or what you were saying. Why is it mutually exclusive to have to build the minor leagues and have just a total dud team on the major league level? Do them both. That's how the business should be run. And you shouldn't pay full price. If they want to say everything's half price. I was there the other night.
Don't go then.
Yeah, but that's not fair because we don't have another team. For true sports fans, that's not a fair thing. Just boycott them. They have a covenant with people here, with baseball people. Huh?
There is another team. It's called the White Sox.
Yeah, okay, but if you're in Chicago, you're divided north and south, right?
Yeah, okay.
And there are diehard Cub fans who are old, who you have some kind of trust that you've established with them, and I feel it's been breached, and I think it's wrong. We can't bring another team in. It's a monopoly. So Major League Baseball is a monopoly, a cartel. So we're stuck with this, and to put a lousy product out.
So would you rather they win 78 games?
No, I'd
rather they win 90 and spend money.
What if I told you they could win 60 and pick 1, or win 78 and pick 15?
No, I don't want the 78. I want the 90 and above, and I don't care about the first-round pick if they're building. You know how many first-round picks have busted in baseball and how many 37th round have turned into successes? If you're a good GM, you can find ball players anywhere.
Okay, but let me tell you what your column would have been had they gone out and signed Jacoby Ellsbury and signed Masahiro Tanaka and signed Brian McCann. You would have written the next day, hey, hip, hip, hooray, Ricketts opened the checkbook and they're trying to win. And guess what? Those guys suck for the Yankees this year, or they're hurt. Tanaka's on the shelf. He's gone.
Right, but he was 8-1 when he went on the shelf, and nobody knew that at the time. Sure, there are guys that aren't going to work out, but you don't know that in advance.
McCann's been terrible for $85 million.
Better than Edwin Jackson? I mean,
he's been awful too.
What about the ones that work out though, Dave? What about the guys who you get who are good? What about if you sign Yasiel Puig? Or, I mean, I don't know. We can go through it. You're picking the ones who didn't work out. And sure, you spend money. It doesn't guarantee anything, but at least it shows you're making an effort.
But most every team has a core of homegrown players.
No,
fine, have them.
But again, I get back to the story of being sold. Hey, we're going to grow, we're going to grow, we're going to grow. But the whole time, I always felt that the goal was we need to cut the payroll way down. So let's sell this. And like you're saying, Rick, people are reciting the mantra because they repeat it so often. You don't realize that a team we were watching that had $140, $150 million payroll is now down in the 70s. And you get what you pay for. You're not going to be competitive. Now, if you could have kept it at 100, and I understand the covenants with the sale and it gets mind-boggling. But you're not putting a competitive product on the field, and you could have a $100 million payroll. You could have some major league players out there, but you're just telling us, no, we can't do it. But I think the whole time along, they're making a profit. They're making a large profit.
Weren't they the most profitable team
last
in
year?
baseball
By Forbes, they were the most profitable team last year by Forbes. And again, that was with a $71 million payroll. So I have a problem connecting these two things together, where if you have that money, couldn't you spend that money? And before they said, well, Theo made that one comment that with the Jackson contract. Well, we didn't know if we didn't spend the money this year that we would have it next year, that we had to spend the money this year.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I don't get that. The money's going to go away magically? You couldn't have saved for a better pitcher?
All right, here's today's poll question.
Frankie, I'll drink to that.
What was the most surprising thing from the MLB trade deadline day? A, John Lester goes to the A's. B, Tigers get David Price. C, Rays get very little for David Price, apparently. D, the White Sox not doing anything. E, the Cubs getting a minor league catcher for 2 veterans. Go to CSNChicago.com. Updated results throughout the show. All right, Derrick Rose is on the mend after 2 knee surgeries, and now he's trying to mend fences with his bosses. Former MVP talks about his and his representative's relationship with the club in his Sun Times exclusive. We'll discuss that next. Plus, Timberwolves are still talking about a Kevin Love deal, but the Bulls aren't involved in the talks at all. Sports Talk Live back in 2 minutes.
Sports Talk Live is presented by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers who know what it takes to be #1. It's all about drive.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer. The Chevy Summer Drive. Right now, get over $7,000 in total savings on a 2014 Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition. It's all about drive. See your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealer.
Come into Steak and Shake for real hand-dipped milkshakes. Better yet, come into Steak and Shake for real hand-dipped milkshakes at half price during half-price happy hour. Weekdays 2 to 4 at Steak and Shake. The $4 menu at Steak and Shake, featuring handcrafted steak burgers, all beef footlongs, and fresh guacamole made from scratch. The $4 menu, where all meals are under $4 at Steak and Shake.
So, what's this?
Check it out. I just saved 15% on car insurance in 15 minutes, so I took a selfie to show everyone how happy I am.
Really? Because Esurance saved me money in half that time. Can I?
Oh, you can be in it. No need to photobomb me. Hash brown, selfie.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
15 minutes for a quote isn't how it works anymore. Start with a quote from Esurance and you could save money on car insurance in half the time. Welcome to the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
The city of Chicago has seen its share of impressive duos. Jordan and Pippen. Thomas and Ventura. Taves and Kane. And now, another great duo makes their television debut on Comcast Sportsnet. The Cap and Haw Show. Weekdays at 9 on Comcast Sportsnet.
August 6th, catch Hawk and Stoney live from the K-Zone. One lucky fan has a chance to sit with the boys from the booth and watch Chris Sale light up the Rangers. All you have to do is be that lucky fan and tell us at CSN Chicago on Twitter or Instagram why you love the White Sox. The hashtag SoxLove. Contest ends Sunday, so hurry, get in the zone with Hawk and Stone. Derrick Rose continues his workouts for Team USA ahead of the World Cup in Spain. As he looks to get back into game shape, he's looking to fix a strained relationship between his representatives and the Bulls organization. In an exclusive interview with the Sun Times, Rose discussed the tension. I know it's been there. I heard there were some upset people. I'm happy I didn't personally see it. I don't want to see that. I kind of wonder where it was coming from because it seemed like whenever I was around, everything was all right. It bothered me because when I wasn't around, I would hear from certain people that everything wasn't all right. All right, interesting stuff. Joe Cowley got to sit down with Derrick in Vegas, and he got some interesting stuff. This relationship sounds like it's been festering for a while.
I'm not clear. I've read the entire story, but I'm not clear. Is it how the initial injury was handled by his camp and
more? I think that his camp was firing on management for not improving the roster.
The thing that I found most interesting about the story that I read, and again I haven't read the whole thing, was Derrick has been under fire for not helping to recruit players to the Bulls. What he told Joe Cowley today,
he wanted Powell over Carmelo.
Correct. He wasn't actively involved with Carmelo because it sounds like he didn't want him.
Right.
And he helped with Powell. So the interesting thing there is, one, he is involved, And two, he's got a lot of power. He's got it. You know, he holds you know, some cards here. And while I think he could play with Carmelo Anthony, I think that would have been a pretty good combination. And I'm kind of disappointed. You know, he holds some sway here.
Yeah, you know, it's they talk about his camp. And you always wonder, what's a camp? Yeah, I see like a bunch of guys on horses with a flag or something in tents, you know, Civil War.
Right, it's BJ and Reggie.
Yeah, it's BJ and Reggie. Reggie's brother, BJ Armstrong. That's basically it. And BJ has some tension with the Bulls. He was there. He wanted to be general manager, I guess. You know, everybody has some relationship with John Paxson going back, because he's been around the organization since he was drafted in 1983, I believe. So,
yeah, by San Antonio and traded to the Bulls.
Right, and traded to the Bulls. And he went other places, but he's been around. And so he's the president of operations, you know, and then you've got Gar under him, then you've got Thibodeau. So the problem with Rose is he hasn't played, and all we've had to talk about are rumors and how's he feeling, what's his knee like. This is the first time we've actually seen him play since that last you know,
correct.
He had the knee issue last year. I think when he starts playing and all of this recruitment of all these players is done, and Kevin Love goes to Cleveland or wherever he's going, and Andrew Wiggins goes up to Minnesota, that the Bulls will have a good team. And if he's playing as well as people say he is, well, then all's good. And who cares if everybody likes everybody, right? Just playing basketball would be the great thing.
But it just seems like with the Bulls, everybody's trying to establish their turf. You know, there's their front office, there's the coach, there's Derek. We're going to do this, we're not going to do that. There's just all this needless drama. You know what I mean? The point is like you said, you just want to see Derek play. Until we see Derek play, what does any of this matter? It doesn't matter, because if Derek's no good, none of this matters. And if Derek's very good, we're going to forget about all this, because then he will have.
Do you think he's getting any pressure from Adidas? You know, they had that monstrous deal with him, and I haven't seen
what pressure? I mean,
well, the Eddie Rose,
not getting any payback.
They put a lot of money into his shoes.
$185 million.
What pressure? I mean, hey, get out there and don't hurt your knees anymore. I mean, what really?
Well, or, you know, be more active, or, you know, your shoe isn't selling.
Have a voice.
Okay.
You need better players on your team?
I think, I mean, if you're saying that he's speaking up to add to his profile, I think that's being a little conspiratorial.
Well, I'm thinking about his camp again. And, and they got a lot of money.
Why do you think he sat down and said what he said?
Because I think what strikes me about this is that this, to me, is really the first time I can recall him kind of speaking for himself and saying some things and kind of being his own guy.
How about he's 27?
Being an advocate.
Yes. Didn't he say, I'm 25 years old? You know, he's not a kid. He looks older. Those photos of him, or, you know, him shooting, he's got his hair grown out. He looks like a man now. He doesn't look like a young kid. And maybe he's maturing.
I like this. I mean, I like the fact that he's speaking up. And
I also like the fact that he said in there, okay, let's turn the page and start this relationship again.
Yeah.
And let's wipe the slate clean.
All new.
I'm ready to play, and let's communicate better. Because he was getting some bad advice. I don't doubt that his brother has guided him through a very tough upbringing in a rough place in this city, and he deserves a ton of credit for that. But now it's time to let's play ball and put the nonsense away.
I like a couple years ago when this all started, the Barkley comment. Let the famous people be famous. We don't need to hear from the brother. We don't need to hear from anybody else.
That's a good one.
We just want to hear from Derek. And I agree. I think we all talked about this for a long time, that we thought he was held under sway of some older mentors within his life that maybe were giving him bad advice. Yeah. And the process has to be to see him own it, to take it on, and to say, well, this is what I want to do. This is what I believe. I think that's the process.
But I think he was, back then, I think he was a soft-spoken kid and very deferential. And so maybe he's
growing up,
stepping up his
game.
Well,
you know, Reggie was like a tennis mom or a tennis dad or a Little League dad, because nobody knows who Mr. Rose is. I mean, he's not around. Reggie wanted to be, he was a good ball player.
I recruited Reggie when I was at Northern.
Okay.
Reggie could play.
Exactly, and he set some scoring records in high school, and then he had a very, you know, not very good career after college. So his desire, it's trickled down to him pushing his younger brother, who is everything that Reggie was, only a couple inches taller, longer arms, and a better athlete, and a stupendous basketball player.
So does that article concern you that there's underlying problems that are festering, or no, they're clearing the air?
I think there's tension in the organization, and I've thought that way for, 5 years. So, and the question is that so different from other organizations?
Now, we had John Paxson on the radio this morning, and the question came up about all the rumors. And he said, look, why don't we hear from John Paxson this morning on our radio show?
It's become a rumor mill more than anything. It's almost like a bunch of guys sitting around playing cards or something and just gossiping or, whatever. I mean, that's what a lot of it is. And I know we've taken criticism for not commenting on every report that's out there, but if you start doing that kind of thing, then you're just you're wasting time, and you're not attending to your business. There was all this nonsense out there earlier this year about teams contacting us about Tom and wanting him. We never got one phone call from anybody from any team about that, because they knew he was under contract, and they knew that we were committed to him. So it's just gossip.
I agree completely. I don't think John Paxson lies. He's been very truthful.
I think he's very transparent.
Okay, and here's the other thing. It is all nonsense. But Frank, you said we want to see this team play. And when you don't play, what else is there to do except sit around like at the card table and complain and gossip and rumor?
But sometimes it's in your best interest to come out and say, Tom Thibodeau's going nowhere. Or
so do you do that every time?
Well,
Golden State wants him. Okay, he's not going there.
No.
A week later, the Lakers want him. Nope, he's not going there.
No.
When do you stop?
But I think like the current thing with the Kevin Love thing, and so now we're starting to hear this pushback from the Bulls that there was really nothing. There was never anything to it. That they had no intention of trading McDermott
or Mirotic.
Why didn't they say that 3 weeks ago when it came out? I mean, why did they let this linger?
Because they told their players, you're not being moved. Why do they need to tell you and me?
Well,
because we're in the media, we deserve to know?
No, but the fans do, I think, don't they? Are we the conduit?
So then I get back to...
I do think we deserve to know, Dave. I think that it would be good to let us know. Then these rumors won't fester.
But how many do you address? Because we can walk off the set after this show, stop by my desk, and I go, holy cow, look at this one. The latest NBA rumors, Bulls after whoever. Do they address that one then?
Well,
and then tomorrow another one?
In my opinion, here's the flaw with John Paxson. He's a very private guy, and he doesn't like the limelight, and he doesn't really like to talk a lot. If you had a much more verbal, outgoing guy who be on radio shows all the time, and as Rick Morrissey said, came out right at that moment and said, we're not really going after Kevin Love and Mirotic and Johnny Jumpshot, and they were also talking about Taj Gibson. They're not going anywhere. Or if they are in it, say, he could have come out and said, we're in this all the way. If we don't get Kevin Love, sorry, we screwed up. We tried as hard as we could, but we couldn't get him. And then maybe you say...
Well, we had Gar on last week, and his response was, I told Taj, you can buy, don't lease, because you're not going anywhere. So that addresses the rumor.
Is he honest? Do you trust that?
I mean, Taj came out and said the same thing. He was told that. So if he's not honest, he's lying to his own player. So I do believe him.
But I think to your points about a loyal fan base, is what Rick said. The Cubs have a mantra. It's repeated over and over. The fans repeat it. Everybody repeats it. There doesn't seem to be a Bulls mantra that we understand what's going on or where they're headed. And again, it ties into, because the most important piece, we don't know if he's going to be as good as he was.
Well, my question then would be, if this Love thing isn't true, why aren't you pursuing this guy? Why aren't you making that trade that's been rumored?
Maybe they don't feel that they're getting enough back for what they'd have to give up.
That's fine. I mean,
do you remember a long time ago when the Timberwolves said we're keeping Kevin Love?
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
And people have just disregarded that completely. And I hear today he's absolutely going to Cleveland. Okay.
Because he reportedly told Flip Saunders this week, his representatives, there is zero chance he'll re-sign with you after next year. So if you want something for him, you better move him now.
Players, when they get the most upset is when they say to you, the general manager, the president told me this, and he lied to me. You can't lie, because it just destroys.
Happens all the time.
I hope that Rose isn't talking about lies or the camp or these things, and I hope it isn't something that can't be resolved by simply playing the game. I don't care about this national team at all. Zero. No interest.
But I want to watch how he plays.
And we won't be satisfied with Derrick Rose till he plays with the Bulls and plays not just one game, but plays an entire season.
Hey, what if he doesn't make the team? Would it be better for?
Well, they said he's going to start. He's going to start.
Lock. Yeah. He would never have gone there if he wasn't a lock to make that roster.
Boy. Okay. All right.
The most important thing is to see him in February on back-to-back nights be able to.
All right.
There you go.
Lance Briggs entering his 12th year as a Bear. Could it be his last? Veteran linebacker discusses his future, talks about the present state of the defense. Jake Cutler can absolutely be the NFL MVP if he stays healthy. So will he? And is the battle for backup QB being overblown? One columnist had an excellent article about that. Sports Talk Live back in 2 minutes.
What is it, Dr. Bob?
This looks serious. They better get to Schaumburg Ford for a great deal on a new Ford. Trust me, I'm a doctor of savings.
Right now, save big on the new 2014 Ford Fusion. Lease one today for just $209 a month.
Be sure to see us before you buy.
Bob Roman.
Bob Roman, Schaumburg Ford on Gulf Road. Schaumburg, part of the Midwest #1 auto group.
The DirecTV customers you're about to meet have allowed us to switch their service to Dish Network.
So we called Dish Network to find out exactly what we could record and what we couldn't record with the Hopper. We thought that you could record 6 shows all at the same time. Then after the call, it seems like you can only record 2 shows during prime time. And the 4 other shows are what Dish Network tells you can watch, which is what's on the networks. So I am still very confused about what you can and what you can't do with Dish Network.
Stop throwing your money away on disposable air filters. One K&N washable air filter can last the life of your car. Install one in 5 minutes. Better value and better for the environment. K&N, available where auto parts are sold.
When pain keeps you from moving, there's only one move to make. Icy Hot.
Icy Hot Patch starts working on contact, penetrating to the source of the pain. Icy to dull, hot to relax.
Icy Hot. Let's get moving.
Attention all seniors, if you have Medicare insurance, you may qualify for high-quality support braces at little or no cost.
I'm thrilled with my knee braces.
Now there is a simple and proven solution for seniors to get out of pain with state-of-the-art support braces.
I barely feel any pain at all.
Braces for your knees and back, shoulders and ankles.
I'm so happy with the quality of these braces.
Call now, and you could qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost. Call the Senior Health Connection.
1-800-552-1957.
Best times I've had here are with my family because we've been coming here since I was a kid in my diapers.
I can't get enough sports. Hopefully you're not sick of me. All right, can't get enough of my love for Eagles quarterback Nick Foles. Start your weekdays off right, 9 a.m. to noon. Cap and Haw simulcast from 87.7 The Game. Catch the best of the show, the Cap and Haw Rewind at 11 p.m. and see what you missed tonight. John Paxson headlines that show.
Bear season.
Can you take us back to...
Time to go hunting.
What kind of hunt? Lion?
Hunting for prey. We got lions, Packers, Niners, Bills.
All right, time for our Bears training camp coverage presented by App. Training camp continuing in Bourbonnais. 12th camp for Lance Briggs, veteran linebacker, entering the final year of his deal. In the past, that means Lance isn't too happy and he'd let everybody know about it. This time around, things are different.
I just want to play football, man. You know, I've seen a lot of guys come and go, and I'm here. You know, I'm happy. You know, and I'm just appreciative. The only time that I might not have thought I would retire as a Bear when I said I would never put on a Bears uniform again. And I haven't said that again since that time. So, yeah, of course.
Why do you want that?
Why do I want? Because I'm a Bear. I'm a true Bear, you know. This is year 12, you know, and I've given, you know, my blood, sweat, and tears and my heart to the city, you know, and playing for this team. And when it's all said and done, I'll retire a Bear.
He's a pretty good leader, that guy. He's a pretty good football player. Do you think he could be what he's been coming off a major injury?
I don't know. You know, that's a position we've talked about a zillion times about, you know, you can be a 33-year-old linebacker as like a 60-year-old person. I mean, just the punishment you take. So what I see with that is a guy who sat out a bunch of games last year and has a little better perspective on how much he loves the game and what he missed. You know, and so it'll be interesting. It sounds like he's really hungry. I don't know how his body's going to hold up.
That's 33 is antique. You know, in 12 years is you're right up there at the end of your career. 13 is pretty much it. A lot of guys go at 13. What was Urlacher? How long was he? 10, 11, 12?
Yeah. Urlacher was, I want to say 12.
Okay. You know, you can lose things real fast, and Briggs' injury was his collarbone, or you know, something that might affect him when he tackles. You don't heal as quickly. I agree with Rick Morrissey when I think that year off gives you perspective on what you love, and the idea of being a Bear, retiring a Bear, never playing for somebody else, having been a linebacker, having been right there, that tradition from, you know, Butkus to Singletary to playing next to Urlacher. That's very important, and I hope he has a great season. I really do. When he's good, when he was great, he was great.
And again, the perspective being that there is such a history with the Bears, there is such a history with the linebackers, and you know the end is near. Why wouldn't you want to be part of that forever? That you're not going to sully your reputation. You're not going to go out on a bad note like somebody might have just done. Why don't you go out and make the fans happy, be part of something, and you'll be part of it forever? Because as we know, like the 85 Bears, they've lived forever.
All right, our Pat Boyle sat down with Lance today in Bourbonnais. Pat asked him how much the defense has improved. Briggs himself wasn't too sure.
I think we have a lot of guys, we have a lot of talent, and we have a lot of guys that are working hard, but I'm excited to see what we're made of. You know, when you get tested, you'll find out what you're made of. We have a hard-working group, man. You know, that first week of September when we play the Bills, everybody will have an idea of what we have, and we'll have an idea of what we have. You know, I'm not going to go out here and say that we have the best defensive line in the league, in the world, and this and that. We haven't been tested. We have a bunch of hard-working guys, you know, that want to be great.
I think he's being exceptionally honest. We'll find out. They brought a lot of pieces in, and we'll see how this thing all fits together, because the offense should be elite.
Well, we're all expecting that, and he's a little more measured, Lance Briggs, than Brandon Marshall was about Jay Cutler, which is kind of.
You mean Joshua?
Funny interviews. They haven't been tested. We're worried about the defense. They were terrible last year. But, you know, so the Packers' defense was terrible last year. A lot of teams had good offenses, but not such great defenses. So be eager to see them play in a preseason game.
Let's talk about Jay Cutler. Can Jay truly be the MVP of the National Football League? You go back through the past several years and see what the MVP numbers were. 55 touchdowns from Peyton Manning, insane numbers from Adrian Peterson. Now, Marshall says he absolutely can be the MVP. We haven't seen a Pro Bowl appearance here, let alone contend for MVP.
What is the? I guess I didn't get the point. I didn't get the point of. Other than Brandon Marshall's a wide receiver, and wide receivers say crazy things, and he was saying a crazy thing.
No, he was saying a crazy thing to the guy that throws him the ball.
Well,
Brandon Marshall is all about getting the ball. I get it. He's a great player, and he blocks, and he does other things, and I love watching him. But let's make no mistake. He's going to make sure that quarterback's happy, so when he sees him down the field, the ball comes out.
And I made that point in the paper today, and that's been his MO, and it's been the MO of a lot of wide receivers.
Absolutely. But when I look at Cutler, I mean, for me, I'm just circling one game. It's game number 2. It's at San Francisco. We all remember the game at San Francisco, I guess on a Thursday night, when he threw the 6 picks. I want to see when he goes against the defense. And again, the Bears defense, I look at it and go, who's the in their prime stud on the defense? I mean, you need in your prime studs to win in the NFL. They're a little bit old, but again, when Jay Cutler, with this offense, with these weapons, goes into San Francisco on a night game with that defense, is he going to throw for, and again, I don't care whatever he throws for, but how many interceptions is he going to throw? My number's always been with Jay is you're too careless with the ball. There's too many interceptions. That's why we fell in love with McCown last year, was the 12-to-1 ratio. He wasn't putting the ball where it didn't belong. And we're going to see this new and improved Jay Cutler. Can he be the MVP? I think you're going to know after game 2. When he goes on the road in game 2, when you see how he plays there, that's where I want to go.
Let's talk about your column from today.
Yes.
Thought it was very good.
Oh, aren't you?
Because I get so tired of picking up, and I love Twitter, picking up Twitter. Oh, Jay threw a 4-yard out completed in the 7-on-7 drill.
But that wasn't what the column really was about.
The column was about all the backups, the stuff about the backup quarterback and the insane focus on it.
Yeah.
That all goes right back to all the tweets that we see from practice. And I know guys are doing their jobs. I could care less if Jay completed a pass or Jordan Palmer threw an 11-yard pass.
No, but there's a huge difference there. I don't mind hearing about Jay Cutler. I don't care about the backup quarterback battle. And the column was, I blame Josh McCown for all this because he was so good. Now the expectations are, one, that Jay's going to get hurt, which isn't an unrealistic possibility, and two, that whoever's going to win the battle is going to be as good as Josh McCown, or has to be, which is unlikely too. So I don't want to read about these guys. I don't care about Jimmy Clausen and Jordan Palmer.
But you made the point, though. I mean, in the article, you said he's missed 12 games in the last 3 years.
Yes.
And in the NFL, that's a lot of games for your quarterback to miss. And as we found out last year, and we found out 2 years ago, there's a big difference between having somebody that can come in and step up and run your team and not have somebody run your team. But again, I think that in fairness to McCown or the other guys from before, they didn't have the weapons McCown had. McCown, you just saw as a guy that could just get it to where it belongs. They'll take care of the rest.
You know,
I think that again,
looking at what's on the video.
Whoever's the backup this year, I would be stunned if he doesn't play a game or 2 games.
Yeah, Jay never completes a season.
And that could be so important when you have a team that I look at, it might be 9-7 and competing for a division, 8-8.
I guess my thing is, let's hear about it when they're necessary, because you know, in my mind, they're not supposed to be seen or heard until the quarterback
goes down. So you're basically saying, let me know that there's a security blanket when I need it. I'll check it out.
Yes. Yes. But I also said in that column that this is a reflection of just how boring things are, or how good the offense is. That there's really not a story. There's no stories there.
Yeah, you know, Frankie brought the San Francisco game. If you recall that one, Aldon Smith wore Gabe Karimi like a bug on his grill of his car, and that was just like a sick thing. Now, San Francisco, you know, a lot of things changed. Aldon Smith's had a lot of off-field problems, but we just saw that cavalcade of the ways that Jay Cutler was hurt. There's virtually everything. He's got crushed by Sue. He got twisted and tore his groin. You didn't have the one where he ran down a receiver or somebody, an interception, remember, and broke his thumb.
San Diego broke his thumb.
Yeah, so
they were 7-1.
You can hurt yourself a million different ways, and sure, he can be all-world. If that's what we're going at with Brandon Marshall, giving him these roses, saying, you know, putting these gifts in front of his quarterback so he can get the ball thrown to him, as Frankie said, because a wide receiver is nothing if he doesn't get the ball thrown to him. Sure, Jay Cutler could do that. I think he's got the physical skills. He's got to be careful with the ball, can't throw interceptions, and the Bears have to win.
All right. Ray Rice will not play first 2 games of the Ravens season. Today, he faced the media for the first time to apologize and explain what happened in Atlantic City. And remember, you still have time to vote on today's poll question. What was the most surprising thing from the MLB trade deadline day? Right now, 56% say the Rays getting very little, it appears, for David Price. Go to csnchicago.com to vote. Bring your results later on Sports Talk Live.
Bears training camp coverage is presented by Abt, electronics, appliances, and more since 1936.
Can he get there? Yes, he can. Jumping at third as Gillespie robbed him of extra bases. Yes. Catch the ball, boys, and you're doing it. Strike 3 got him. He gone. Slam. Sox win. Sox win. And this ball game is over. Our kids just will not quit.
Matt, what do we got going on here today?
Well, we put an addition on this home.
Before we start painting, obviously we got to prep. We got exterior and interior 3M Scotch Blue Painter's tape. The exterior tape can hold up to the elements, the wind, the rain, the hot sun, the humidity. It has a waterproof backing. One of my favorite things about this tape, it has a quick snap tear. Also, it comes off cleanly up to 7 days. It's the perfect tape to use for exterior painting. Available at the Home Depot.
Get incredible savings from Empire today on beautiful new carpet and flooring. It's Empire's whole house sale. Buy 2 rooms and get carpet or flooring for the rest free when you pay for padding and installation. Shop at home for brands you trust, like Mohawk, Boyu, and Armstrong. Don't miss, buy 2, get the rest free. As many rooms as you want, even your whole house. Schedule now.
800-588-2300 Empire. Today, Sunday, get an inside look into one of the Blackhawks' grittiest players, Andrew Shaw, presented by Cadillac. Join Pat Boyle for an exclusive one-on-one with the scrapper who overcame all odds.
I might have a shot, and I just kept pushing myself, and Chicago gave me that opportunity.
Plus, the sacrifices he made to win it all.
That picture holding the cup is the coolest thing ever.
Inside Look, Andrew Shaw, presented by Cadillac, Sunday at 9 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Sportsnet Central comes your way bottom of the hour. Chris Bowden, Mark Shanowski are your hosts. And CB joins us live from the newsroom with a preview.
Good afternoon, Cap. We have plenty more on the baseball trade deadline coming up on Sportsnet Central. Kelly Crow will have reaction from Wrigley Field and that deal the Cubs made. Also, Lance Briggs faced the Heat in Bourbonnais today, and the media will discuss his impact and the chances number 55 retiring as Bear. Plus, the latest from Las Vegas as Derrick Rose continues his workouts with Team USA. All that plus highlights from the north side and from Motown as well. It's a Poppin' production. Nate Poppin, our producer, hard at work. He's trying to stay out of the shot right now. But all that and more when Mark Shanowski joins me at the bottom of the hour on Sportsnet Central. Cap, back to you and the guys in the studio.
Always love what's going on in the background.
Wow.
Have a great show, buddy.
All right, thanks.
All right, Ray Rice has been the focus of the NFL over the past week. The league suspended him for 2 games following an incident in Atlantic City in a casino where he assaulted his then fiancée, now his wife. Today, for the first time since the suspension, Rice met the media.
At night, I just replay over and over in my head, that's not me. My actions were inexcusable, and that's something I have to live for have to live with the rest of my life. And the pain that I'm talking about living with is waking up every day, and my daughter's 2 years old now. I have a little girl who's very smart, very intelligent, and one day she's gonna know the power of Google, and me have to explain that to her, what happened that night. So, and I know that's not who I am as a man. That's not who I am as a man. That's not who my mom raised me to be. I let her down. I let my wife down. I let my daughter down. I let my wife's parents down. I let the whole Baltimore community down. And I got my teammates here to support me. I let my teammates down. I let so many people down because of 30 seconds of my life that, I know I can't take back.
Interesting stuff.
Wow.
Because I wondered what he'd be like. Would he talk? Would he not talk? He had to address it.
He said something right there, the power of Google. Now, it may be something else, but what he's references, anything you do is there forever. And his little daughter's going to have to see it and say, someday, Daddy, why did you hit my mommy?
Good. Good. I'm glad there's Google
I'm not saying it's bad, but you can't, when you do something like that, but you can't ever think that it's gone. And that's going to hurt him for a long time. Sure, I agree with you. What he did was reprehensible, and I'm not justifying that at all. But maybe, just maybe, he and his wife have worked it out. Obviously, they got married. They were fiancés.
Okay. As I was driving over here, I was listening to one of the talk shows, and they were sort of breaking down the press conference. I thought he was believable. This is what they're saying. I thought he was contrite. And I'm saying, no, I don't care what he is. I don't care if he's believable, contrite. I don't care about what he says or how bad he feels. I care about what happened in that elevator, and I care about how bad that ridiculous that suspension was, how small it was. I mean, I
get that, but at the same time, there has to be a price he pays and maybe something he can do for redemption. And from the first press conference that came out, which was a farce, and the things he said, and you get knocked down and get back up, at least this was more heartfelt. was more sincere. He wasn't reading off anything. But I also am trying to, like you said, I'm trying to reconcile it with, well, you get 2 games for this, you get 4 games for this, Roethlisberger gets 6 games, whatever that is. It's like, what is the proper thing there? But again, it always gets back to, eventually he does have to own it. He does have to stand up. And I don't want to see, you know, I don't know how his wife feels or that, but maybe that he could do something to redeem himself. He's never going to lose it. It's always going to be there. But what does he do next as a human being to move on? The football player stuff is basically inconsequential.
Actions not
But
right.
don't, if his wife has reconciled it, married him, and they're okay with it.
Has she? I mean, has she? I mean,
they were not married. They got married.
Cap.
He's worth a lot of money.
The suspension's a joke. It should have been a season.
Cap.
For what he did.
Women who are abused physically or mentally have a really hard time getting away from the person who is abusing them. So, and I'm not saying this is the case here. I'm just saying it's a possibility that she doesn't know what else to do.
You know what I would say?
And they've been together forever. They've been together since high school.
That I see with the NFL is that they're going to suspend Josh Gordon for a whole season for a drug offense. They have not taken the assault of women very seriously at all. It's part of the macho thing, and there's been way too much of it through the years. I mean, way too much. And if Paul Tagliabue, if Goodell came out and said, "This is it, guys, that's it. You have any domestic issue where you strike a woman or you beat one or you're charged with it, I don't care what the situation is, home, minimum suspension of a season."
Yeah, I would say a minimum of 1 year without pay. Up next, the poll results. We'll wrap up Sports Talk Live.
I'm telling you, this is the same rattling my car makes. See?
Just get that out of my face. Go get a new Lexus.
Getting a new car from us is so easy, even a baby can do it.
During the Golden Opportunity sales event at Arlington Lexus, drive a 2015 Lexus RX for just $339 a month.
There's only one.
Arlington Lexus in Palatine, just west of Route 53 on Dundee Road, and only 2 miles north of Arlington Racetrack.
Okay, fries and a burger. Would you like the mattress combo?
Did you say mattress combo?
Mm-hmm. For just a little more, you get a nice fluffy mattress. You're like totally full of coils and stuff.
Does it feel like everybody's trying to sell mattresses these days? Forget the amateurs. Trust Sleepy's. We know mattresses inside and out. It's all we do. Sleepy's, the only mattress professionals.
When you paint with Frog Tape, something magical happens. Because Frog Tape is the only painting tape with patented paint block technology to give you the cleanest, sharpest lines possible. The patented paint block reacts with water and latex paint to form a microbarrier against paint bleed. Frog Tape Delicate even works on freshly painted surfaces, giving you maximum creative flexibility. For professional results when you paint, there's only one name to know. Frog Tape. Keeps paint out, keeps lines sharp.
Stop throwing your money away on disposable air filters. One K&N washable air filter can last the life of your car. Install one in 5 minutes. Better value and better for the environment. K&N, available where auto parts are sold.
When pain keeps you from moving, there's only one move to make. Icy Hot.
Icy Hot Patch starts working on contact, penetrating to the source of the pain. Icy to dough, hot to relax.
Icy Hot. Let's get moving.
Love the White Sox because this is my hometown, my kind of town, Chicago.
All right, poll result time. 41% say the Rays getting very little, apparently, for David Price. The most surprising thing from the trade deadline. Thank you for letting us know your thoughts. Thank you very much to our great panel. It's a wrap for Sports Talk Live, presented by our great partners, Chevy Silverado. Sportsnet Central with Mark and Chris is next. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer. The Chevy Summer Drive. Right now, get over $7,000 in total savings on a 2014 Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition. It's all about drive. See your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealer.
The $4 menu presents many options.
yet grants us only one stomach. Master?
How does one decide between the original double and cheese or the fresh guacamole steak burger, the garlic double steak burger, or an all-beef Chicago-style football?
How do you decide, Master?
Pictures.
The $4 menu, where all meals are under $4 at Steak and Shake.
For over 50 years, Discount Tire has been the place where America saves on tires.
The Bears are back. Countdown to football season with Bears training camp reports on Comcast Sportsnet. Kip and Moon take you live to Bourbonnais every night. Bears training camp reports nightly on Sportsnet Central and CSNChicago.com.
Nice car. Not so nice scratch. Wouldn't it be nice if removing ugly scratches from your car was this easy? Now with new Finish Scratch Doctor, removing surface scratches is easy. In fact, independent laboratory tests have proven Scratch Doctor to be the best scratch remover available. Scratch Doctor with advanced microtechnology also removes paint scrapes, scuffs, haze, and swirl marks. So get Scratch Doctor.
#1 rated Scratch Doctor, available at O'Reilly Auto, Lowe's, Pep Boys, Target, AutoZone, Walmart, and other leading stores.
Hi, I'm Anthony Rizzo. Get the best Cubs coverage all season long with Comcast Sportsnet and CSNChicago.com.
Time to go hunting. Hunting for prey. We got Lions, Packers, Niners.
Lance is ready. Are you? Hi again. Welcome to Sportsnet Central, presented by AT&T Ubers with Mark Shanowski. I'm Chris Bowden.
Lance discusses last year's lost season and the possibility of retiring as a Bear.
I'm a Bear. I'm a true Bear.
The trade winds blow a pair of aces out of the AL East.
Plus, a couple of Cubs are headed to Hotlanta.
We'll spell everything out for you on Sportsnet Central right now.
To Sportsnet Central, presented by AT&T Ubers.
Well, what do you know? Major League Baseball's non-waiver trade deadline a lot more interesting than what we've seen in recent years. A flurry of deals came down before the 3 o'clock deadline. The Cubs traded away 2 veterans who were in high demand over the last several days. Utility man Emilio Bonifacio and left-handed reliever James Russell are both headed to Atlanta in exchange for switch-hitting catching prospect Victor Caratini. He will be assigned to the Kane County Cougars. Russell was the longest tenured Cub. He debuted with the team in 2010, while Bonifacio made the squad in spring training as a non-roster player. GM Jed Hoyer hopes this is the last time the Cubs are sellers at the deadline.
Certainly our hope that this is the last time that we're in this sales mode. You know, we want to be aggressive this winter. We want to find players that complement our young guys very well. We need some mentors for those guys. And, you know, I'm excited. We got a really healthy organization. We got a ton of young talent. And that talent's getting pretty close to being here. So, you know, as that talent comes up here, you know, now it's our job to figure out how to add pieces around them. And this winter, that'll really start, you know, in earnest.
Well, the biggest name to be moved is David Price. He's now a member of the Detroit Tigers, who now have the last 3 American League Cy Young winners in their rotation.
That should help.
Involved in a 3-team trade as the Tigers sent today's starter against the White Sox, Drew Smyly.